And we are live. Tweets going out.
All right. Here we go. We are live. It feels weird. I'm not paying attention to what's happening here. Just watching.
Yeah, you and me both.
All right. Dealing, helping our team, helping my fantasy team, keeping it going. Let's This is actually crazy though.
Oh, this
Fucking
is
Cooper Rush, are
insane.
you kidding me?
Oh, come on, Kirk. This has been such a frustrating game. I know everybody that's watching this is such a frustrating game.
This is craziness. Like,
Hey, there we have Mike Bone joining us.
this is like, why do we play down to the level of every team that we play?
I know.
This is
It's
a game.
just
You
it's
gotta
stupid.
run a team like this out of the gym. Like, what are we doing? This is
You got Connell saying Mike Zimmer is a joke. Not disagreeing with you on that one, on this one. However, he's not the only one to blame. There's Mary. Hey, Mary, I know this is disappointing.
Howie. I can't disagree. Like Cooper Rush, like the broadcast was saying, he had his hallmark movie moment at our expense today, and
Cooper becomes a national star. And he may get traded to New Orleans
embarrassing.
shortly. And what the heck? Yes, Quang. What? 18 seconds left. Yay. Vikings are about to go 3-4 because they lost a game they played flat almost all night. You wonder why I drink.
speaking of, I'll be right back, David.
Then you need to get a microphone. 20 seconds. Andrew, to answer your question, I think it's more Clint. But he's not the only one. There's poor decisions all around. Like, why are you throwing behind the line of... Well, that was a little bit beyond. Hurry up. Let's go. You got 7, 6, 5. At least spike the damn ball. Come on. Heave it up there, nothing. And the clock runs out, and your Vikings lose to Dallas on Sunday Night Football. Final score, 20-16. Yes. And you know what that means? That means it's time for the roll-in.
Join the conversation. Win or lose, victory or agonizing defeat, disappointment or glory. Climbing the Pocket is here.
Hey everybody, it's Dave here, and once I get everything set up, we should have at least, why is that not showing up? Here we go. Jason's joined me.
Green room, homie.
And,
Hello.
And we've got more people getting ready to join us. Until then, they're going to stay. Yinka's in his wonderful picture staring at us because I'm sure he feels that way. We also have...
He's at the game.
He's at the game, so he's going to hook up with us here shortly. Yeah. 6-1. Yeah, I must be a Cowboys fan. And in the green room, just
what up, though?
The green room.
We got some Cowboys fans in here. What's happening, man?
Hey, I'll take anybody. I don't discriminate.
Come on through.
Fire Zim. So much pain watching this team. Yes, Quang, you are correct. So embarrassing, Kevin. You are correct. If anyone, anybody, all right. Yes. Get rid of the head clash ice up.
The comments are coming through, and I can't say I disagree with any of them. Mary, as always, you are correct. Kevin, I'm not sure who Zimmerman is, but we can fire his ass too. They all can go. Yeah, man. I don't even know. Myles, man, how you doing?
What up? Man, I got my girl sleeping, so.
Oh, so you can't get loud.
She's here. My daughter's right here. So.
Oh.
Yeah, Lake's over here. She's chilling. What'd she think about the game?
I mean, she slept through it because that's how boring it was. I mean, real talk though, she did expect a W. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, to be honest, the last few weeks we've had a horseshoe anyways. People want to say that everybody else has been lucky. I mean, shoot. How do you, at home, off the bye, you lose to a dude named Cooper fucking Rush?
Cooper Rush.
Nothing wrong with Cooper fucking Rush. His parents gave him that.
Exactly.
I mean,
Dave. I mean, if somebody were fired tomorrow,
still trash.
I know nobody's gonna get fired tomorrow. Like I do. Like that's not gonna happen. But like, if this doesn't tell you, this is where I was at coming out of the bye. You had all those games against the Lions and the Panthers. Both those games. If you lose one of those games, we're not even excited about going into this game right now. And now you come into this game with Dak Prescott, one of the best QBs in the league, out. And you put up 13 points and you lose on a last-second touchdown. Not a last-second, but a last-minute touchdown by the Cowboys. The Cowboys, without Dak Prescott, beat you late. And then you go into the 2-minute drill, and it's just ugly.
Oh, it just...
I don't even know what to say, man.
In the military, we had a term for that, and it's fugly. It usually describes a woman you wake up with the next morning after being extremely drunk the night before. But this game fits the bill. Absolutely. And it's just too bad. Hey, we want to welcome...
We got
some fire in these comments, though.
James
Taylor coming through.
See, this is my issue. This wasn't just a noon game losing to Cooper Rush. This was Sunday Night Football, a nationally televised game. And you got people like Stephen A. Smith doesn't give a shit about the Vikings. He's tweeting about the Vikings, and that's when you know shit's messed up, man.
Hey, guys, I can't keep up with these tweets or these remarks coming in. They are absolutely on fire, and they're rolling in faster than I can click them up on the screen. We appreciate that.
JR, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can. You sound great. Golden voice and all.
Let's go. Okay, well, we got the crew here. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jayson Brown. I will be hosting this evening, this group therapy session. And, we got the man, the myth, the legend, in his final run with us here, Mr. JR, QB1. What's going on, my man? After this game, man, what can you tell us?
How you doing outside of the Vikings? What's going on, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. All I can do is laugh right now. It's not a true laughter. It's more of a angry laughter. But I mean, I don't even know what to say after that performance. There's just so many missed opportunities. It was the same old Vikings, and they've kind of flirted with this type of performance before, and I think it just kind of stung them, and they got caught with their hand on the top of the stove when it was hot. We've seen them come out on the right side of these one possession games with bad teams before. We should have lost to the Lions. We should have lost to the Carolina Panthers, and then once again, here we are in a dogfight with the team that we're clearly better than with Cooper Rush in the lineup. But once again, we're on the wrong end of these one possession games. But I mean, it's just been a snowball effect, and we've kind of gotten away with being on the right end of these one possession games against these bad teams. But now on a nationally televised audience, we're starting to see it now, and we came out on the wrong end of it. But there's just so many things that I could talk about that went wrong in this game. It wasn't just the offense, the defense, and I thought the defense played okay in spots. I had a huge
I
problem
was just gonna say,
the cushion
you know,
with the cushion that they were given on the outside. I mean, Dantzler was getting work. It's like, how many times are you going to see CeeDee Lamb run a hitch route or a curl route in front of you before you start breaking on it? Like, Cooper Rush is not going to throw the ball deep. Like, I mean, Mike Zimmer, when you're going to come up and press these wide receivers? And I know
can we talk?
Cooper, I know you're nervous of Cooper and CeeDee Lamb getting behind you, but you got to understand who's at quarterback too. They're not going to attack the deep portions of the field. So I mean, I just had a huge problem with the game plan. I didn't understand on both sides of the ball what they were doing.
Yeah, talk to us,
Can we
Myles.
talk about that real? Yeah. So that's my issue is Zim. I feel like Zim would have been more aggressive if he was playing Dak Prescott, and that's my problem. Cooper Rush, it's his first start. The dude's been in the league for 4 years. That's like you should be like the one thing I will give. The defense actually did pretty well. The reason the Cowboys were even in the game was because the Vikings offense couldn't do anything. It was the Vikings defense that kind of kept them in the game, to be honest. The Vikings offense should have been the one that put this game away well into the second quarter, third quarter, after you had a couple turnovers by your defense. You had a couple plays on offense, and I'm just at this point, like from a top down coach, like the coaching perspective, like the Vikings second half, they were a little bit of aggressive in the first half. You could see on offense they were trying to hit some deep shots. They were trying to make some plays. As they merged into the second half, I feel like they took the gas pedal off, their foot off the gas pedal, and decided, let's just slow play this, grind it out, and I think we're going to beat them because we have better players than they do. And it's just not true. Like the Vikings are not. I've been saying it all year going into the season. The margin for error for this team is nothing, and it becomes even worse when you lose, like against the Cooper Rush. Like you should be creating a margin for error, and you did against this team, and then you kept shrinking that margin for error as the game went on because you couldn't put the game away on offense. And people want to sit here, exactly, Jerome. Like people want to sit here and they always need to make it like about Kirk or Zim. It's a collective group effort where they all fucked up. But like the two most important people were at the worst today. It was the quarterback and the coach. And I'm not even going to make it about them fully, but like those two just did not come up when you needed them to. And you could throw Clinton into that too. But all in all, like the most important players that you needed to step up didn't. And on national television, like that, like national television, I'm just so sick. Come on, man.
And man,
JR,
Clint,
help me out
I
here.
will
'Cause,
say,
like,
I will,
the
I will
Cowboys
say this,
defense
Jason.
is not even good. So, like,
Yeah,
how is it that Kirk is throwing for 184 against the Cowboys defense that, like, they're not a great defense? Were they doing anything
yeah.
different in this game that caught you off guard? Like, what is it that you were seeing? How is it that our offense could not get going against a Cowboys defense that, like, is better than it was, but certainly isn't great?
Yeah, I thought they made it really easy on them. Clint Kubiak's in over his head, man. I tried to give him a chance early on this year, but he just looks like when he has to adjust in game, he just looks in over his head. And they kept running a bootleg play where Kirk would start left and he would go back right. And every time Kirk would throw it short or he would throw it out of bounds. And they ran it I counted 7 times in the second half, and it did not work, not one time at all. And it's whenever, the opening script is always good, just because that's the easy part of the game. Just because you go into a game with the game plan, you come out with a set type of play that you want to attack. Just because you like what you see on film, you're able to script those. It's usually the first 10 to 12 plays or 10 to 15 plays of a game that you like. So Clint is good with that. But when he has to make in-game adjustments based on what defenses are doing to him and his offense, he just looks way in over his head. And that's something that's been a huge problem for them this entire year. And I don't know the exact stat, but what we have 1 or 2 touchdowns in the second half over the past few games or so. So that's just a microcosm of him just failing to adjust. Yeah, so that's just a microcosm of him failing to adjust in the second half. And, it's just a sign of bad coaching, man. I just think, not saying he's too young, I just think his inexperience is really showing right now. And the Vikings, this is the thing, Mike Zimmer's going to have to make a decision. And I don't know who he's going to turn to, but if he doesn't replace Clint Kubiak or figure out a solution to this offense, he's going to have to go down with him, man. He's going to have to go down with him.
He's calling Gary at the ranch right now, yo,
yeah,
come through.
I counted at least 4 passes thrown behind the line of scrimmage in the second half, and I know I missed some.
And I did want to add one more thing on the defensive side. I hope people recognize the importance of Danielle Hunter now. That defense we saw out there today was a defense that we saw last year. That was the 2020 Minnesota Vikings defense without Danielle Hunter. No pressure outside of the corpse of Everson Griffin. He's given everything that he has left. That's really the only pass rusher that we have. Our secondary, I'll say our corners were bad. I thought Harrison Smith, he had some really bad plays in moments. I think it was the touchdown in the first half of where he was when they ran Tampa 2 and Cedric Wilson split him down the middle. He's just spinning in circles, having no idea when and where to make the tackle. I don't know what was going on with that. And then he missed a whole bunch of tackles, and they were trying to run blitz him off of the edge, but they had a plan for that. But I didn't think Harrison Smith played well at all. Xavier Woods, I thought, probably was the best defensive performance out of anybody. But he was fired up to play against his old team. But the Vikings got an issue at corner, man. Breeland's not a very good player. Cam Dantzler, he's just playing really scared right now. And Mike Zimmer is play calling he just doesn't trust his guys on the perimeter. So whatever you have to say about Patrick Peterson and Danielle Hunter, I hope you recognize their importance now, how important they are to this defense.
I mean, yeah, I'm still. We lost to Cooper fucking Rush today, yo. I don't even know what to say about this.
Oh man,
bad,
man.
Don't wake the baby up, Myles. Tyler, what's good, homie? How you doing? Good to see you.
Man. She's pissed.
Hey, it's good to see you, gentlemen. I'm glad to be here, kind of. About the only thing good tonight is that I was drinking beer watching the game with some of the neighbors. That was
socializing.
There was.
Cheers.
Yeah, it was wonderful. We're starting to meet some of the neighbors because it's a new build community. We've only been here 3 months, so it was great. But watching this team, man, Jordan kind of touched on some of the defensive stuff as I jumped in here, but outside of the scripted plays, this offense can't do anything, and this offense is too talented. This offense, in theory, on paper, is a top 5 unit in the National Football League, or if it's not top 5, it's just outside of it, and they're not doing anything. It's a combination of play calling, and outside of those scripted plays, there just isn't enough going on. Kirk Cousins just being kind of chicken. I saw so many instances where he took the check down where on the broadcast tape, the middle tier option was open. There's no benefit to this team. We're too good to be bad. We're too bad to be good. We are in purgatory, and until we blow it up or make a real change, this is where we're going to stay. And as a fan, as an analyst, it's incredibly frustrating to watch because there's no way that this team should be where they're at. We're too talented to be 3-4 and losing, as you said, Jayson, to Cooper fucking Rush.
Well, this is also part of the issue too.
Hold on. JR seemed like JR's got to smile like that. We got to find out what that's about. I'm sorry.
I'm laughing through the pain. CJ Ham CJ Ham had one less target than Justin Jefferson tonight. Justin Jefferson had 4. CJ Ham had 3.
Are you telling me we have 2 quality wide receivers that don't get targeted on a regular basis?
Dalvin Cook, 0 catches tonight. 0.
And they weren't effective on the ground. So like that's been the issue with this offense is when the ground game isn't working, they don't seem to know how to function. And so my issue this is going into last season into the off season into this season where we heard people like Zimmer and we heard all the national media talking about the offense was fourth and they were the fourth best offense in the NFL last year. No, they weren't. They weren't the fourth best offense. They were just what is it? Jayson, you have the stats. They were the fourth. Come on, feed it for me.
Wait, we're talking about who? The Vikings?
Last
The
year,
Vikings offense.
and like yards.
This has been, and like yards. I think that's what it was. So then we spin that as they were the fourth best offense in the NFL last year, but we know how that storybook ended. My issue was in the offseason just going into it pretending like everything needed to be status quo and you don't need to improve anything. You just need to build off of it. And they didn't build off of anything from last year. That's on offense. And then on defense, when you just factor in the idea that you just needed to sign a whole bunch of one-year vets and you think you're going to fix everything, like Tyler said, this is just a rudderless ship. They're not going anywhere. How are we going to expect them to go anywhere when they can't beat Cooper fucking Rush? Like that name, I feel like I'm talking about a band.
Well, and just look at what the betting markets think of Cooper Rush. It started off earlier this week, -1 Cowboys, rose to -3, and then the second we got wind that Dak might actually not play because of injury, it swung and closed at Vikings +4.5. Not only did the Cowboys cover +4.5, they beat us outright by 4. Like Vegas thought nothing of Cooper Rush. All my Cowboys contacts that I talk to on a regular basis also thought nothing of Cooper Rush, that he was a bad quarterback, that he's Jerry Jones's boy. Like this is an utter embarrassment for this level of talent to be playing this poorly. And it starts at the top with Mike Zimmer. This is a purgatory football team until we change something. Nothing will change.
Kirk and Cooper Rush had the same amount of completions tonight. But one guy had over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the other guy had 1 touchdown.
And didn't throw for 200 yards.
And he didn't throw for
200 yards. Like, that's what I like.
Hey, Tyler,
that's the part for me.
We'll have to say goodbye to you tonight. Thanks for hopping on. Yinka has showed up.
Have a good night, guys. This team
Thanks for popping in.
Have a good one.
We'll see you. Have another drink for me, man.
I'm going to have like 6. And then I'm going to go replenish at work in the morning.
Good.
Word.
All right. Now we bring on.
Oh,
I got to bring him on.
Double Dave.
Here we go. He says this in the green room. Let's go.
Hey, what are the comments saying? What do we got the comments down here?
Let me see. Daniel, why do we even bother with receivers? Just throw more linemen out there. Daniel, you might be onto something.
Hey, I can't keep up with the comments.
He would do that shit right now. Let's see here.
Go to the, what do they call that? The hippo?
We play Baltimore next week. Oh, my
Baltimore,
Lord.
then the Chargers. So we go to Baltimore, then we go out west to the Chargers. This was the game you should have won. This was the one. And hey, can we start? The Vikings have not been over 500 since 2019.
Yinka, can you hear us?
What's going on, y'all?
So we got Yinka leaving the stadium.
Where are you? Oh, you're at the game.
Was it any better in person than it was for us watching at home?
How much money did you win?
Worse in person. Not a lot, man. I bought my tickets today, so the tickets were cheap.
I couldn't believe how many Dallas fans were there.
Oh yeah, there were a ton in our section as well as within the stadium. Like you would think
you could
that
hear
the
them
stadium
chant
was like
Coop every time Coop had a pass.
yeah, you would think there was like 40% Dallas fans here.
Flip wants to know how cold you are right now. You said it doesn't look like California weather where you're at right now, based on how you're dressed.
No, it's not really that. It's not really that cold though.
Hey, Flip, you know exactly what the weather's like, man. You used to live here.
All right, so Myles, I'm gonna get. I know
Baltimore, the
you got the
Chargers,
baby
and the
right there.
Packers.
Yeah, man. So Myles, is there anything that you see from this game? Any takeaways? Anything you see that this team can fix to make you feel like they have a chance of maybe splitting the next few games?
That's what the bye week was for. So the one thing I will say is it won't surprise nothing will surprise me. This team will play Baltimore strong because that's what they do. They'll play them strong. I don't know how the outcome will be, but they'll play them well in some capacity. That's my assumption, at least based off how they've always been. But the bye week was supposed to be that self-correction. The bye week was supposed to be, we're at Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys, no Dak Prescott. We should be putting our foots on their throats, and we should be showing the world that, hey, we could be a playoff team. We could be a team that teams should fear down the stretch. And they didn't do it. So the way to correct themselves is, it's obviously some of the discipline. I mean, it's some of the play call. It's more of the situational aspect of it that I think people have been calling for a while. It's the situational stuff. It's the end of half, end of game. Like, I know the Vikings have done pretty well end of game most of the season, but overall, like the end of half stuff, it's really been a struggle. And it's not just Mike Zimmer. Can we stop saying Mike Zimmer is the only person that's in control of what happens on offense when you're running the clock? Like, that's not just Mike Zimmer. That's the quarterback. That's the offensive coordinator. There's a lot of people that are involved in those decision-making process. So it's not just Mike Zimmer, and that's not me giving him any credit or trying to taking blame away from him. It's just, it's not just Zimmer. There's multiple people that can make those decisions as well and have a say in this. So I just don't know what to say. I said earlier, they're not going to fire anybody, but we're in a situation where it's just like, what am I supposed to think of this team? I'm sick of talking about the playoffs. I'm sick of talking about like this team as if like their road to anything is positive right now. I was saying that when they were 2-3. I was saying that when they were 3-3. It's the way they're playing games, the way they're losing games, or the way they're winning games. It's just not. It's not conducive of a good football team. It's just not.
JR, you played football in college. Based on what you've seen from the Vikings, do they trust Kirk Cousins? Our boy Eric, he likes to talk.
No.
He likes to stir the pot a little
No.
bit. But like the way they're playing out there and the way that they're calling plays for Kirk, does this team trust Kirk?
No, and Kirk doesn't trust himself in prime time. I don't know what it is about him playing in prime time, but when those bright lights are on him, he just tenses up, and that's something that doesn't get better as his career goes along. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's just something that goes through his mind that he just can't get through that prime time barrier, but he just looked like a deer in the headlights. And I mean, the dude threw the ball out of bounds on the last play of the game. At least throw it to the end zone for a Hail Mary to have a chance. He threw the ball out of bounds. Like, little stuff like that as a former quarterback just drives me insane. So I don't know, man. He's just not a primetime player.
Is he playing for stats? Like, is he
he's
doing those
playing
things
to
to make the
win.
stats
Yeah,
look?
I'm not gonna.
Is he playing to make the stats look a certain way, or is he playing to win the games?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna accuse him of that. Kirk's a competitor. He's playing to win the game. I'm not saying that he's just out there just trying to pad his stats or nothing like that. The dude is playing to win the game, but it's just he just tenses up whenever the moment intensifies. He's just not a player that can just play in those control or those type of environments. That's just not his forte.
You can see it.
He's just
You can see it
no
tonight
doubt.
more than usual,
All you gotta
too.
do is look at his feet. Just look at his feet. I call it machine gun feet. When his feet are moving like this, that's a scared quarterback, man. That's what his feet were like. That's when you can tell, or you can just call it happy feet, whatever. He just tenses up, man. And some of those throws that he's used to making, those tight window throws that we've seen make him plenty of times. But whenever the situation maximizes or intensifies, he just tenses up. That's just who he is.
There were a few
Is there
times
anything we can
where
do about that?
defenders were falling around his feet, which I know makes quarterbacks uncomfortable because I used to be one of those defenders. But, yes.
Christian Ponder feet. Oh no, Michael. Oh no.
He had those from kickoff.
Oh, and Quang is saying that that Kirk need to change his pants. Zune over here talking about Kirk's voice cracking again. Damn.
It was bad.
Damn. Prince, you were there. Any positives from your perspective that we can take away from this? Anything? Or are we just burning it all down?
The Vikings purple still looks really, really nice. It's a really nice stadium still. Those are the positives that I have.
How about Christian Darrisaw?
I mean, obviously there was that one, Randy Gregory was kind of putting on a little bit of a clinic on him. It's hard to see, like from my vantage point, it's hard to see, but I kind of wanted to touch on something that Myles was saying earlier, as far as the responsibility of not only the head coach but also the quarterback. I think we have said it time and time again. The responsibility of Mike Zimmer is to be a CEO. He's not supposed to be a defensive coordinator. He's not supposed to just be the guy that oversees the offense. He's obviously supposed to oversee the entire team, and we can hold him to that expectation, that standard, because that is the role of the head coach. But I think we also have to hold the quarterback to that same standard as well too, in the respects of it's not Kirk Cousins' sole responsibility to just manage games. He also has to step in with the kind of expectations he has around him. Sorry if it's loud. The expectation is like he has to cover up. At times, he has to cover up defensive deficiencies. And honestly, the defense played pretty well in this game up until, stands a couple plays, and obviously those plays at the end of the game. But I mean, obviously, if they're playing just Dak Prescott, who knows if they would have played as well as they did. So it's the absolution that we keep having in these conversations is, why don't we just blame everybody, and that way we can kind of start for what's working instead of trying to put this whole blame on one individual. Because at the end of the day, I saw Kirk Cousins throw far too many checkdowns that he should have. I saw some, defensive miscues, right? I saw some really, really bad offensive play calling. Clint, Zimmer, offensive line, Kirk, I blame them all, and I think it's fair to just be able to say that and not have it be where we're just hating on the team as a whole.
Okay. So fire everybody? Is that where we're at now?
Fire Zimmer and fire Kirk. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Well, can we real quick, Jayson, talk about the fact, I know I've mentioned it a whole bunch of times, this Cooper Rush. If your ownership, you're at home, so everybody's watching your team at home lose to a Dak-less Dallas Cowboys team when your team's fully intact. And that's embarrassing. If I was ownership, right, I know the Ziggy Wilf gif is going around right now, which is funny. But if I'm ownership, I'm embarrassed right now. There's losing to a good football team, and then there's literally just letting another team come into your house without their best player, without one of the best players in football, and just rolling over you. And it's just how is it? Again, I'm not saying someone's going to get fired, but I'm not saying Zim's getting fired this week, but I would be embarrassed. It would be if Zim wasn't already on notice, Zim's on notice now. He might not come home from Baltimore next week. That's where I'd be at if I was the Wilfs right now.
Man.
Courtney Cronin just posted this. 1 for 13 on third down, the Vikings offense.
It was bad.
not winning too many games, going 1 for 13 on third down.
But JR, like, what were you seeing? Like, schematically, again, the Cowboys defense has been much improved and they've been taking the ball away. But they're not a dominant defense. It wasn't like we were playing the Ray Lewis Ravens from back in the day. Like, they're a mid-tier NFL defense. Like, why was the Vikings offense so bad? Like, that's the part that I'm just struggling to really, really put my head around, my arms around, whatever, is that offensively, we had mismatches all over the field and we could take advantage of none of them. And I don't understand how that happens.
It's too
JR,
much underneath
and
stuff.
piggybacking off that point, JR, I saw a lot of screens, obviously away from Gregory and then on the ends and stuff. Just to that point, do you think that the Vikings offense was just as scared of the defensive ends because of the tackle situation? Or, I mean, what were you seeing? Because that's what I saw all game.
It was more so the interior pressure. I mean, Bradbury and Udo did not play good at all. I thought the tackles were fine. I mean, O'Neal and Darisaw played good games. To me, Cleveland looked fine. He didn't really stand out in a bad way. And I mean, when we did go deep down the field, it was just Kirk was overshooting Justin Jefferson, or they were just a little bit off. So I don't know why they went away from doing that. There was a bunch of underneath stuff. We were throwing the ball to Tyler Conklin like he was prime Tony Gonzalez for some reason the entire game, and just too much underneath stuff and trying to change the launch point so much for Kirk Cousins. I think they just kind of overdid it. It was overkill with the underneath stuff, and that's why you see Micah Parsons making 1 million tackles underneath, just because that's his game, and Randy Gregory making plays all over the field too. So they kind of played into their hands, and they didn't do a good job of attacking that secondary. And I mean, I know Trayvon Diggs is a good player, but he's a huge Jekyll and Hyde type of player, like Marcus Peters was in his heyday, where he's going to give up some big plays, but I mean, he's going to get his too. So I thought they did a bad job of just attacking down the field. And I know Justin Jefferson was banged up a little bit, but I just thought they could have took advantage a little bit more of the Cowboys secondary. They didn't do a good job of testing them deep.
Somebody else has that responsibility. So when that sort of thing happens, I know a lot of the time we're going to blame Kirk Cousins. That's the thing you see. You see the quarterback throwing the check down. But when that's happening over and over and over and over again, what's the adjustment the coaching staff needs to be making in order to get the offense going? Like, when you see a team clearly has studied what you love to do, like, what's the next thing the Vikings could be doing there to open things up instead of throwing passes 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage throughout the entire second half?
RPOs.
You got to throw the ball deep. Yeah, that too. RPOs, or throw the football down the field, especially when they're playing that bear front. Bear front is just trying to stop the run. You're clogging pretty much every interior gap. So they wanted to stop pretty much the offense up the middle of the field. I mean, which is fine, which is what you want to do to Dalvin Cook, just because the Cowboys are really talented on the edges. So what they were trying to do is clog the middle and force the Vikings to the edges, just because you have guys like Micah Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch and all these other fast players that they have on the edge. That's why I said we could have really tested them deep much more than what we did. And they did it in the first quarter. I mean, you saw Justin Jefferson going down the field. He almost had it went off his fingertips. I think that was in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And they had some other deep shots down the field that came up short, but they just went away from it in the second half. And that's why I said, like, I don't know who's in Kubiak's ear giving him advice, or if he's not taking the advice, or whatever it is. There's something, or he needs some type of help. Just because that's what I really loved about Kevin Stefanski, and not just to backtrack, but he had Gary Kubiak in his ear. I just think he needs a older consultant like that. Just throwing him to the wolves is really backfired for Mike Zimmer.
Did you see Mike Florio's post tonight about if you have an offensive-minded head coach, you basically have two offensive coordinators? Not that he was referring to tonight's game, which we all laughed.
Yeah,
you need one offensive coordinator.
He's just in over his head, man. Yeah, he's just in over his head.
Myles, I feel like you were about to say something there. Like, was there anything that about any of this? Yeah, hop in.
Well, so Cousins came out and said he got asked the question about like the defense and the coverages and stuff, and like why so many checkdowns. He said it was a combination of coverage and pressure. And so in those instances, we've seen that a lot. We've seen him say that most of the season because defenses have adjusted to what JR was saying. They like to play the too deep. They're going to take away our deep shots to Thielen and Jefferson. So, like, what are we doing to beat them in the intermediate? Or what are we doing to help still create explosive plays? My question is, how have we still not found solutions to some of those same issues coming up week after week after week? Because if you're never going to solve those problems for yourself or create solutions for yourself, defense is just going to continue to run it, and then you're just going to keep using them as the excuse for why you're not having explosive plays. At some point, you got to test. You got to give your guys a chance. You got to give your guys an opportunity. You have two of the best receivers in the game. How are you not giving them more opportunities to down the field? And that comes from Clint, that comes from Zim, that comes from Kirk. That's all three of those guys. That's not just Kirk, in my opinion. I think because we know Zim wants him to dial it back a little bit. Don't take too many unnecessary chances. But at some point, you got to take some chances. At some point, you got to risk it for the biscuit. That's what Bruce Arians would say, right? Like, you got to take those chances at some point, because if you don't, you're always going to stay in this rudderless situation, and you're keeping games close. The Vikings have a good offense. Like, there shouldn't, like, miss me with all the O-line excuses, miss me with all that. The foundation and everything is there for this offense to be really good consistently. It's everybody else that's just not letting them do it. And so at some point, the excuses got to be done.
Whew. All right. I mean, I got not too much else to say about this fucking embarrassment, if I'm being honest. Like, we lost to Cooper Rush today. Cooper fucking Rush, like, I don't know. And now Lake's awake. It's time. It's time to wind this thing on down. Yinka, you got anything else to say while you wandering through the streets here?
Not much, man. I mean, what you guys saw on TV was, like I said, it was worse in person. There's just not much that you can take away from this game, you know. Besides that, there just has to be a complete change. You're not going to fix this, you know. There's nothing that I see here outside of, okay, you have some good pieces that you can build off of, but it is the ideology that will kill us, because no team that plays not to lose deserves to win. And that's what I see with this team. So that's my takeaway from this game.
All right. That's it. That's all. I got nothing else. No need to keep all y'all on the line. Everybody, go find some drinks and check into JR's Twitter feed tomorrow at noon. Maybe there'll be some news that might put a smile on your face. And that's all I got. David, what's happening for the rest of the week?
I was hoping we'd get an announcement tonight, but
nah, man, you gotta wait.
Since we gotta wait till tomorrow with bated breath. Tomorrow night we'll have CTP Mondays, Climbing the Pocket Mondays. Climbing the Pocket is your place to gather the best Vikings information you can get. We do it on the web, we do it on Facebook, and of course we do it on Twitter. And tomorrow night we have CTP Mondays, where the guys will go at it, and I'm sure it's going to be a lively show. So join us.
I want to see Deshaun try to put a positive spin on this one.
At our regular time. I'm curious about how Deshaun's going to handle this one. You got that right?
You know he will.
And what do we say, guys?
I mean, play the music, Dave.
Well, we say a little bit more than that.
Oh, yeah, Skull.
Mike is adorable. That's what we say.
Skull Vikings, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And if you're listening on your favorite aggregator, make sure you rate us. And always feel free to join the conversation here at Climbing the Pocket. Skull, everybody.